Just a minute ago, Donald Trump went live and launched a scathing attack on British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, sending political shockwaves through Westminster. Within moments of Trump's speech, UK officials were scrambling behind closed doors, calling emergency meetings, and the pound started to falter on global markets. What began as a verbal assault could soon escalate into the biggest diplomatic crisis Britain has faced in decades. This isn't just another rant, this was a declaration, and it's already shifting the balance of power between Washington and London. Just moments ago, Trump stood in front of cameras at a press conference in Washington and did exactly what many feared he might. He singled out Keir Starmer, accused his government of betraying America, and warned that Britain would face, in his words, serious consequences for its disloyalty. The statement hit like a thunderclap. Trump wasn't vague or diplomatic, he was furious, and his message was crystal clear. Under Starmer, Britain is no longer considered a trusted ally. Behind the scenes, senior US officials confirmed what many had suspected. This wasn't an off-the-cuff rant, it was premeditated. The White House had prepared talking points, press releases and media briefings to accompany Trump's remarks. The message was clear. The United States is done pretending the special relationship still holds. For decades, that phrase symbolised mutual trust, shared history and military cooperation. Tonight, Trump shattered it publicly and with intent. Within minutes, British diplomatic channels went into full panic mode. Foreign Secretary David Lammy was seen rushing into Downing Street, flanked by advisers and security. Insiders report that Starmer's team was blindsided by this, especially today. They believed the situation with Washington had been stabilising after months of frosty silence. But Trump's live address made it clear he hasn't forgotten and he hasn't forgiven. He accused Starmer of meddling in the 2024 US election and claimed Britain had crossed an irreparable line. The response across the Atlantic was immediate. Nigel Farage took to X, formerly Twitter, within seconds, posting, "Trump is right. Starmer has destroyed Britain's credibility abroad." That post was shared over 100,000 times in less than an hour. Elon Musk also amplified Trump's message to his hundreds of millions of followers, calling the Labour government anti-American, anti-freedom and dangerously naive. The online firestorm has morphed into a full-fledged political earthquake. Meanwhile, markets are reacting. The pound dropped against the dollar as traders absorbed the fallout. Reports from the London Stock Exchange suggest that investors are bracing for the possibility of new tariffs being announced as early as next week. Trump himself hinted at this during the press conference, saying, "We're reviewing all trade deals with countries that don't respect the United States." And some countries, he warned, are about to find out exactly what that means. It's clear who he was referring to. Inside Westminster, chaos reigns. Cabinet ministers are divided between those urging Starmer to publicly apologise and those warning that any sign of weakness will only embolden Trump further. Leaks from Downing Street suggest some advisers believe the Prime Minister's position may now be untenable, fearing this could be the tipping point. One insider reportedly said if Trump follows through, Britain could face economic isolation. Political analysts are calling this unprecedented. No US president has ever publicly humiliated a British leader in such personal terms. Not even during the Suez Crisis or the Iraq War. But this isn't just about humiliation, it's a strategic move. Trump is reshaping global alliances based on loyalty and personal respect. In his eyes, Starmer has already failed both tests. In stark contrast, Trump praised Farage during the same press conference, calling him a man who understands what true leadership looks like. That single comparison, praise for Farage, condemnation for Starmer, could reshape Britain's political landscape overnight. Reform UK is already surging in the polls, and after tonight, Farage is being seen not only as an opposition figure, but as Trump's chosen partner in the UK. For Labour, the optics are disastrous. The leader of the free world is openly backing their biggest rival. Diplomatic sources say the Foreign Office has attempted to reach out to Washington via every possible channel, but so far, no response. Trump's team is reportedly ignoring calls and briefing American media that Britain will have to earn back America's trust, a phrase Britain hasn't heard from Washington in a century. As this drama unfolds, every major global power is watching. Europe, China, Russia, they're all asking the same question. If Britain can lose its most important ally this quickly, what does that mean for the rest of us? Overnight, the crisis deepened. Reports from Washington suggest that Trump's inner circle is already drafting a series of executive actions aimed at British trade, intelligence cooperation and even defence agreements. Sources close to the White House say these measures are being internally described as a calibration of loyalty. That's Trump's coded language for economic punishment. Proposed actions reportedly include a 25% tariff on British steel and automotive exports, stricter controls on defence contracts, and a review of intelligence sharing under the Five Eyes alliance. In other words, the foundations of Britain's strategic relationship with the United States are now being shaken, openly and for all the world to see. Trump's live attack was just the beginning. The real pressure is only now beginning. Back in London, Starmer finds himself caught in a tightening vice. The British press has turned savage, with headlines screaming, "Trump declares Britain disloyal and special relationship in free fall." Inside Downing Street, senior officials are clashing over how to respond. Some are urging Starmer to issue a public statement, acknowledging mistakes and trying to reconcile personally with Trump. Others argue that any apology would make Britain appear weak and only reinforce Trump's dominance over UK politics. The paralysis is complete. Every hour without a response makes the government look more desperate, more isolated and increasingly unable to control the unfolding events. The opposition senses an opportunity. Nigel Farage has gone on a media blitz, positioning himself as the bridge between the UK and Trump's America. His message is simple and devastating. Starmer has broken the alliance and only a change in leadership can repair it. Trump himself has only reinforced that narrative, reposting clips of Farage's interviews with the caption, "A real friend of America." The symbolism is impossible to ignore. In Trump's view, Farage is the true representative of Britain, and Starmer is a leader to be disregarded. Political commentators across both countries are describing this as a diplomatic coup orchestrated in real time by Trump and his allies. Meanwhile, the economic consequences are beginning to hit. Major investment banks are advising clients to prepare for instability. The pound continues to slide and energy markets are already pricing in potential retaliatory tariffs. Businesses that rely on American contracts like aerospace companies, car manufacturers and pharmaceutical firms are bracing for impact. Executives are calling Downing Street for reassurance, but Starmer has nothing to offer. His calls to Washington remain unanswered. America, once Britain's closest ally, is now ghosting the UK on the global stage. The mood inside the Labour Party is turning toxic. Leaks from internal meetings suggest scenes of open shouting between ministers. Some are calling for emergency talks with the opposition to present a unified national response, while others are calling for Starmer to resign immediately to avoid total collapse. The Prime Minister has lost the confidence of the UK's most powerful ally, and he may soon lose the confidence of his own party. The fear now is that Trump's words could trigger a chain reaction. Economic pain, political fragmentation and a total loss of international credibility. Once that spiral starts, there may be no easy way out. Across Europe, allies are watching nervously but keeping their distance. Privately, EU leaders admit they can't afford to antagonise Trump either. France and Germany are quietly reaching out to Washington, trying to ensure their own relationships survive this new geopolitical reality. The message is clear. Britain is on its own. Even Canada and Australia, traditionally staunch partners, are treading carefully. Diplomatic cables reveal that officials in Ottawa and Canberra have advised their leaders to avoid public alignment with Starmer's government until the situation stabilises. The isolation is complete, but Trump isn't finished. Late tonight, he returned to social media with a post that sent shockwaves through Westminster. "Britain has treated America very badly. They interfered in our election. insulted our movement, and now they act like victims. There will be consequences, big ones. The post ended with 3 words in all caps: respect or pay. Within minutes, it had been shared millions of times. The phrase is already trending worldwide, becoming the unofficial slogan of Trump's new foreign policy. Analysts say this language isn't coincidental. It mirrors his campaign rhetoric. Simple, confrontational, and designed to dominate the narrative. Trump isn't just conducting diplomacy. He's staging a spectacle. And Keir Starmer is the unwilling protagonist.